PraetorCrash00 and Drewsif82, transitioning into a discussion about the inheritance tax, or the estate tax, as it's like to be called. And Drewsif, you brought it up, so I'll let you start off on this.
Yeah, I think this goes hand in hand with property rights. And
It does. It does. I agree.
And so last night, again, I was talking to my buddy, and we were talking about the inheritance tax, and he initially was of the mind that, well, it's a good thing. Well, not necessarily that it's a good thing. Actually, I don't want to misrepresent my friend. What he was basically saying was, well, I think a little bit is okay, but what are you going to do? It's been on the books for a long time, and everybody wants to get on Obama for increasing it, but it's been around for a long time. Essentially, is what he was getting at.
Yes. Yes.
And I said, okay, well, I still disagree with that. I don't care when it was put in. I think it's wrong.
Yes.
If it just like I told my friend, I said, well, it was constitutional at the time to own human beings in this country.
Yes.
I mean,
Exactly.
that was the law of the land at the time, and clearly, we can all agree.
Rumor has it there's no statute of limitations on murder, just because you murdered someone.
Yeah,
5 years.
so clearly, clearly that's an abomination, and just because it's decided by some man or woman in a far off capital doesn't make it moral, doesn't make it right, doesn't make it doesn't make it just.
And just for our listeners, what we're talking about is in 2012 the exemption was from properties just over $5 million, 35%, and now it is $1 million at 55%. So if you have a property that's worth over $1 million in assets and you die, the government takes over half.
Absolutely.
Really fair.
Absolutely. And so what I was telling him was, I said, well, first of all, when they do that, I mean, I think it's clearly wrong on several levels. I don't think the government's entitled to take anything that I earn in this life, I mean, I will pay my taxes and stuff like that for income and whatever I'm forced to be a law-abiding citizen. But I think that there's a more insidious, I think there's something that's insidious afoot here. And I truly believe that the inheritance tax and the estate tax is another step, measure that the federal government is taking to ensure that you have no inherited wealth. And now some people will go, well, no, this guy or Paris Hilton, she didn't do anything to inherit all this money. Why does she deserve to get that? I get it. I think she's a trollop. I understand. I think she's totally vapid and really does not offer a lot to, humanity in general. However, I will say that it's, you know what? It's none of my business. Her parents, her grandparents made that money. All right, fine. That she's entitled to that. And so my whole thing is that I think my issue is that, I think that the inheritance tax and the estate tax are, I think it's as a measure to ensure that your average, your middle class, and I think it's to ensure that your middle class and the lower middle class can never ascend and can never rise to any sort of prominence, and therefore they will never pose a challenge to the elite power structure. I think this is definitely an agenda. I think it has absolutely zero to do with equaling the playing field for everyone else, and for the disadvantaged. I think it has nothing to do with that whatsoever. I think it's part of a concerted effort to keep the middle class, to basically stifle upward mobility, is my opinion.
Okay. And I'll have my response in the next segment.